Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of My Community. I'm here with the lovely Cecile Dimizio. Cecile, how are we doing tonight?
Good, doing good. Great to be here.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. So, Cecile, before we get into the topic of love, everyone
Mm.
always loves to talk about love. It's such a fun topic. But before we get into it, Cecile, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I am 38 years old, nurse by background, nurse management to be exact. I am a mother of a 2-year-old boy. And I put that out there because I think it's like one of the top things that I'm so proud about, having my son. He is my whole world. So, that's who I am as Cecile. I'm being a mother is definitely a priority. Like I said, I'm a nurse by background. I've been a nurse for 18 years. I am, which I think is so funny that this came to me when you spoke to me about this. I am, I was in a relationship for 20 years and soon to be a divorcee, I guess I should say that. But full transparency, if we're going to talk about love, we talk about, everything, right? Falling into
Absolutely.
love, what love is, the struggles, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the unraveling. And I think, self love as a part of it. So.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I think that's a good entryway into what we're going to talk about because I just did a podcast with my dad about love, and
Nice.
we broke down basically the like what is a good a relationship, what is a bad relationship, and
Mhm.
I don't think there is a good or bad relationship. I think
Yeah.
it's all a part of the journey and what you define as your adventure, so to speak.
Yeah.
But Cecile, please tell us what you feel about love.
There's so many facets to love. When I met my husband, at the time I was 18, very young. So I had that, rose colored glasses, love. Um, you know, I met him and the whole world stopped and, I fell in love and that was it. The end game. This is the guy I was going to be with, marry. There was no doubt. But that was really my first real relationship and my first real introduction to being with somebody. As far as romantic relationship love, I mean, you think when you're 18, right? And you're going into it, and there's so much of love that is discovering yourself in the relationship, discovering how you want to be loved, how you love each other, how you express love, how you want to be loved. And I have learned that over, the many years. And I think that you're right. There really isn't like a bad, good. Certainly we're not talking about like abuse,
Of
right, or
course,
something
no,
like
no,
that.
no,
But it's really what works for you.
100%.
I know people in relationships. It's not even marriages where they're a little bit more. I don't want to say it like this, but a little bit more transactional in their love. It works for us. I travel half the time for work and my husband works from home, but that works for us, and the way we express love is through compromise, or we meet each other in the middle and we have a stable loving relationship. But that's what works for them. And then you see couples, or in that kind of romantic love where it's like that, happily ever after, so dramatic and so out there. And listen, honestly, I wish that for everybody at
Of
some point.
course, of
That's
course.
really great. What I've discovered is that in coming out of this relationship, in the unraveling to me of what I thought was like the pinnacle, like my happily ever after,
Sure.
was discovering how I wanted to be loved. And sometimes it's not that, they're that person, or they just see things differently, they express love differently, but it doesn't always mean it matches with how you want to be loved and your standards of where you want to be met. I've also heard different podcasts and people talk about love. I read a lot. And everybody's like, this is what bare minimum looks like, green flag, red flag, and everything else in between. And honestly, it's like so overstimulating because it's like, they tell you like, if on the first date, if he doesn't bring you flowers, that's automatically, like red flag. I'm like, so if he opened the door for you, he planned the whole date weeks in advance. He's so attentive. He's so, consistent. He calls you. He's respectful. He showed up. He did all these things, but he did not bring flowers. Automatically, that was a red flag. Like, okay, but I feel like we're in that culture of like, we so easily put labels like that it is a red flag, that it is like, like a green flag. And if they do this all the time, and then you start getting to know somebody, and like 3 months down the line, they're a completely different person. And you're like, is that what I want? Am I showing up for them too? So there's a lot of intricacies that I think you have. It starts with knowing, one, self-discipline and how you want to love yourself. And how I always feel like we tell people how we want to be treated.
Of course.
We do. Because if we don't do it for ourselves and we don't lay out our boundaries and we don't follow what we want, the bare minimum for ourselves, then we let them treat us how we want them to treat us. So absolutely flowers, if whoever's listening. Oh my God, bring the flowers.
You got to follow up with all those things, or else Cecile's a no-go with it.
But what it's different for everybody, but you have to know yourself. Myself at 18, going through my marriage and my relationship, and what I've learned from that, communication styles, how you want to show up, what we communicate to our partners, and what love looks like to us. And sometimes our own, traumas and the residue of that trauma that we bring into now new relationships. And it is a lot. And I think sometimes we don't realize that. We're also, I feel like, in a culture now of like, well, what do you bring to the table? Like it's always that, like, what do you bring to the table? And like, what can this person do for me? What can, like, again, the bare minimum and what we're doing, like, are these the qualities that I want, what I want? But what struck me recently, that somebody had asked, and I'm also very strong in my faith, and everybody's like, oh, you pray for the perfect person, you pray for God to send you this person, and that person who's, that has these qualities and has that, and hopefully they're, walk the path of the Lord, whatever it is that you believe in. And then you have to ask yourself, though, you do ask that, right? But your dream person, the person who you think is the ultimate person that has all the qualities that you would want and who hopefully would love you till the end of time, would they want you just the way you are and how you're showing up now?
Wow,
do you feel like they would want you as you are? If you require all of this for your dream person, if they're standing in front of you, would they want you the way you are right now? Are you showing up for yourself? Are you working on your fitness? Are you working on your health? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you, smoking, drinking to oblivion? Are you, do you need therapy? Are you in therapy? Are you, do you have a career? Are you proud of yourself? Are you doing,
right?
What does your relationships look like? So you're asking for God, the universe, or whatever, to have this person show up for you. But would they want you?
Damn. Profound, Cecile. Very good. Yeah.
That kind of like made me a little, I'm like, oh, you know what? I mean, I gotta like work out a little harder tomorrow. That was like, I was humbled. I was like, you know what? It's true. It's always like, now I feel like we're in the age of like, I want them to be like this, and I won't take it if they're not like this. Like, don't take it, like, you got to be treated better. You got to do this. You got to do this. Like, but are you showing up? Like,
So one thing comes to mind in what you were talking about.
I don't know, because that was a whole lot.
Yeah, no. This is specifically no, but that was an excellent monologue, and I loved every second of it. But for me, I was thinking of something the I had a conversation with the wow Tyler, edit that out. So I had a conversation with a previous ex
Okay.
Years ago, and it was the first girl that I fell in love with.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking about jobs.
Did I read about that in your book?
I think you did. Yeah. But it totally resonated with me where the conversation was basically we were talking about jobs, right? Mm-hmm. And I was on my way to, be Mr. Big Shot at the ad agency, and spoiler alert, doesn't go well, folks. But anyway, regardless, we had a conversation almost of like status, sort of speak.
Yeah.
And she talks about how her best friend is dating a garbage man or sanitation, whatever the correct terminology would be. And she's like, what do you think about that? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I think about that? That's his job. Like he's supporting himself and his family. That's totally.
And by the way, they make a lot of overtime money.
Yeah, no,
who's doubting a sanitation
like
the work ethic, I will tell you, my brother-in-law was sanitation, and
they make a killing. They really do. Yeah.
Are we kidding?
Yeah.
Like snow season? Forget it.
Yeah, no.
I just have to stand up for my sanitation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. But one of my best friends is in sanitation, and
they work so hard. And my son loves them. So.
Yeah. They're fantastic.
So
shout out to them.
When they asked him what
yeah, so she asked me that, and I asked her that. I was like, does it matter to you or something like that? And she said, well, of course it does. He's a garbage man. And there was just silence in the car. It was just,
that's awkward.
It was such a poignant moment in our relationship where even though like we still dated a little bit longer, it stuck in my head. And I was like, this ain't it. Like deep down, obviously I didn't know it until obviously a little later, but like there are those kind of moments where I feel like, especially in relationships and especially with the people you love. And this is something also I read about where it's those defining moments or core memories, especially like in Inside Out, as it were, where they really resonate with you on a deeper, emotionally, mentally, even maybe spiritually level that kind of like change the course of your life and change your perception just with a simple sentence, as it were.
The funny thing that you say that is because I find that when moments like that happen in my life, there was a reason. I was 15 and I was best friends with this one girl, and her sisters were in long-term relationships, and I always looked to them like, oh my God, like they, again, right? 14, 15, looking at like they're in relationships, and oh my God, they look like the best couple. And I remember I was talking about it again. We were like so young, and I thought to myself, because the other one, it was a little dysfunctional. On the outside, it looked great, but it was a little dysfunctional. And I looked and I said, I have to promise myself that I will never stay in and this I can say now. It's poignant because I'm experiencing it, and I just experienced it. And I said that I promise myself to never stay in a relationship because of the time and history. I don't know why it stuck to me, because I looked at that relationship like, oh my God, on the outside it looks so great, but it was behind closed doors, it's just dysfunctional.
Right.
And it wasn't like the relationship that I would want to see myself in. This again at 15, right? And then I was in nursing school, and in my clinic, one of my clinical instructors, she's got to be like 50 something at that point. I don't know when she exactly got divorced, but then she said these were her exact words, and I don't know why it stuck to me. Like, again, one sentence, and it stuck to me for years. And she was like, yeah, no. I recently got divorced. I got divorced. So my kid's dad. but he's not a bad guy. He's just not my guy. Like, he's just not, I just knew he wasn't my forever. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with that. And at the time, I was like 18 or 19 again. And I was like, well, then what's wrong with that? Like, if he's not a bad guy, like, why are you leaving him? Or what is happening? Like, are you just not? And there was a part of me that I was like, well, what else are you asking for, though? Like, if you say, like, and I don't know why we even got into that conversation with my clinical group, but it stuck to me. And then in the past year, as I'm experiencing what I've experienced, I found myself literally thinking about those two sentences, like, or things that I've experienced, that why it stuck to me for since I was like 14 or 15 of having
Core memory defining moment, right?
true, two very casual moments, conversations. They were not like big things in my life, but I was like, holy crap. That's exactly
What you needed at that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe there's a reason why it stuck to me, because that's exactly what I'm experiencing. Like, and for me, it was really about it. It was self-discovery of how I wanted to be loved. And I'm not saying I'm innocent in all this. I've gotten to reflect on how I communicate and what I am in a relationship, what I give, what I bring, what the dynamics of the relationship was, what my maturity level was, and all of that. And I found it so, like, I feel like my growth was so profound in the last year, but I feel like it started with like the death of my dad in 2021, and then COVID in 2020. Being a healthcare worker, it completely transformed in one aspect how I saw love and what it looked like at end of life. I mean, I feel like I still haven't processed COVID because I was at the front lines, and it was insane because it was 30-something-year-olds, and you knew that last phone call, like I was holding the phone, I knew that last phone call was going to be the last phone call for their loved ones. And how much, and it was different. It made me look at life so differently. And how short life was. And then when my dad died in 2021, that was just like an overarching theme again. And I was just like, you really don't know what's going to happen. So as my life moved, I think I've had to reflect on some of the things that, I thought about was, I was good. I was good. Like, status quo, I was good in my marriage. But at the same time, I was crawling out of my skin. There's really nothing else I can describe it as. There was something inside me. And I think it wasn't the point when I left. It wasn't the point before that when I asked for separation. There wasn't no significant moment, but it was the point when I actually was a few years back when it clicked in my head that I was like, he's just not my person. And I've had to convince myself years after that feeling would just go away, because in relationships and in marriage, there's ebbs and flows. I am not my perfect 100% person that shows up every single day.
Sure.
You have your own flaws, right?
Of course. And no one's perfect.
Yeah. Like, I'm perfect, I think.
No. Of course, Cecile.
My friends, when I say that, that's you. No one is. And even if you, as your 100% self and your perfect self, not everybody likes peaches. You could be the most perfect peach, but not everybody likes peaches. So there's that. I feel like you find your person. So there's been a lot of reflection, and I've had to think about how I show up and who I am and how I want to be loved. And that the biggest thing that I had to think about was, am I happy to be loved like this in the next 6 months, year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? Am I good with that? Am I good with just good? And then I have to think about my son. That to me was, if not the biggest heartbreak, because it wasn't just me, and I don't have to think about that. I have to think about my son. That kind of heartbreak is completely different. But at the end of the day, I feel like if we are not true to who we are and reflect on how we show up in relationships and how we love and how we also like interpret love. You know, you could show up every day with flowers. But if you're like a florist, what does that really mean? What does that mean?
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You're a florist.
Yeah.
You do that every day. You can do that. You bring that from work. That's not even effort.
Right.
But, but if you're a sanitation worker, you worked all day, did all that, and then did a double shift overtime. And then I come home and you made dinner? What? Hello?
Yeah, no,
what does it mean?
I think it's important to really notice kind of like the little things in life, right?
Huge.
Like
That's huge.
When it comes to love, like the grand gestures are always fantastic too, but it's those little picadillos also that kind of like really show us who our person is in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I know like if my wife listens to this, like one of the things.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful picture in your book.
Oh, thank you so much. But there's like the names that we call each other and the.
Oh, I love the names.
Yeah,
I love the personal names.
Yeah, exactly. The
that only means something to both.
She'll like bite me randomly. I know that sounds like crazy, but
listen, it's not crazy.
No,
I'm gonna give you a little thing if you guys are listening. But when a girl bites you half the time, I mean that's like coming from the heart.
Yeah, no,
like,
it is.
It's literally like cute aggression.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's an expression of
love.
Of physical.
It is. Yeah. I know, and I truly I adore that kind of shit, even though it also drives me insane at the same time.
But it's so cute.
It is.
So cute.
But for our last ticket down love lane, I want to ask you from a spiritual or faith standpoint of love. Do you believe in like there's like signs guiding you towards
100%.
your person and soulmates, and further elaborate on that if you can.
I was born and raised Catholic, so yeah, I do believe in love, but not because of that. I mean, in my spirituality and God, I do believe I have very deep faith. I do read the Bible, but more importantly, I think our relationship with God is important for me, and it's different for everybody, right? It's different for everybody. But like, if you do believe in the universe and the signs that it shows you, for me, it's through my prayers. I pray, but I do pray. So some of the things that happens. So in this, my unraveling of my relationship and being in this journey and learning about myself and really learning how to surrender for me in my faith. And it's been a lot because I am a person who in my training and as a critical care nurse and how I am trained, I am prepared for 10 steps ahead.
Of course.
And I hadn't realized it until I kind of got into my friendships and my relationship, and that I actually carry that throughout my life every day, not just at work, but in training. So I'm always like 10 steps ahead. And sometimes I feel like I always like to see things ahead of time so that I can avoid the nuclear bomb that happens. So I do all the things and the proper steps to avoid being hurt, to avoid the nuclear bomb that happens, right? So I do all that, but in that process, I'm not really truly sometimes giving it all or trying to control things, right?
Sure.
So when I say that, really kind of deepening into my faith, it's funny to me because I've had to literally surrender because I don't know what happens in a divorce. I don't know what happens. This is all I knew for 20 years being with this one person. And I knew that. I don't know what happens now. I don't know. Now I'm going to go on a date and somebody's going to be like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, I'm 30 fucking years old. Really? We're back to what's your favorite color? But anyway, so.
What is your favorite color? Tell the audience.
Like teal turquoise.
Oh, there we go.
I'm just like, it's so funny because I'm just like, oh fuck, I'm back to that. Good morning. Hi, good morning. I'm back to that every day. Okay, good morning. Anyway, so there was something that I read because we're talking about spiritually and they're talking about like faith and all that stuff. And they're like, listen, maybe try this out, right? See if you can make a password with God. Okay. And I said, what kind of woo shit is that? Like what? Listen, I have faith, but there are some times that I'm like, this is really fucking woo. I was like, all right, fine. And they're like, think of a word. Don't write it down, but hopefully remember it if you ever.
Sure.
That if your person comes along, or this is somebody who's like, if you're out there, if you're dating, or one day you're going to date, or you're trying to meet somebody.
Sure.
Like, have a password with God. And trust and have faith, if you truly have faith, that that person will reveal that password in due time.
Oh.
My password, by the way, is so out there.
Is it like, by the way, is it like a statement or is it just like a word?
A word. Maybe
like Apple.
Yours is kryptonite.
Oh,
the word kryptonite. Right? So if you're dating, don't wear your Superman shirt or, because then they're going to be like, oh, John, what's your kryptonite? And like, oh, that was an easy game. Like that was easy.
Right.
But just be like, okay, like if you're praying. And then this is what the video that I saw anyway. They're like, like, if your password is Chilean sea bass. I don't know.
No, that's out there. Like,
out there.
Yeah.
If your password is, like International Space Station. I have no clue. But anyway, tell God, listen, if this person's for me, like at some point somehow try to reveal the path. Like at some point somehow, if this is the person for me, have them reveal the password. That hasn't happened yet because I'm not dating. Well, whatever. That's not happening. But I wonder if that's going to come true. But anyway, that's what they said. But on the other end, I have prayed this prayer that is really powerful. They said, and it actually has worked for me twice. So,
okay.
For me, those are signs.
Yeah, that's good.
And if you believe in like angel numbers and things and signs of how random, I feel like you talked about it in your book. Like random things happen.
Yes, absolutely.
But is it random when it means something to you? Like,
of course.
My friend died last year, and his birthday was June 3rd. And I was reflecting. I was getting my hair done, and I was reflecting on that. And he used to love to drink rosé. And I literally was getting my hair washed, and I was like, "Oh, Ness, like I'm gonna have a glass of rosé for you this weekend." Like I just thought about it because it was coming up to his birthday. Not even shitting you. In 2.3 seconds later, I get a text from my sister, and it was a picture of her on the pool with a glass of rosé saying, "This glass is for you." I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're having a glass up there?" Like, you're literally answering my thoughts. And I was like, well, then there's bitches because you're having a rosé for me. So I do believe in that. And the prayer that I was going to say like that, before I get distracted, as you can see, I get very distracted, is that I prayed that if they aren't for me, like if this is like, we're talking about like somebody who's a romantic love or whatever.
Sure.
If they aren't for me, remove them from my life.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And that person left. Went away.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I was like, it doesn't have to be that fast. I mean, some prayers like happen in years, but like, did you have to remove that person so quickly? I mean, I know I prayed, but I didn't have to.
It was just like the Band-Aid ripped it off.
I was like, when I prayed for $10 million, I mean, it still hasn't happened.
Yeah, no.
But I believe in signs. I believe in signs, and I think that they are revealed. You get messages, but things are revealed to you when you are ready for them.
That's fair.
Truly. And I feel like when you're aligned and you have the responsibility to be able to carry that, whether it's a message, it's a sign, or what you're supposed to do, or the path that you're supposed to take, I truly believe it is when you're ready for that to happen.
Well said. So Cecile, that was a excellent and very profound, beautiful take on love, and I'm so glad you came on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
I just, before I do my sign off, is there any final remarks you want to say to the audience
About love.
about love, or whatever you want? Really, it's
I think that one thing that I would say is self-discipline at any capacity. That when you decide that for yourself is the strongest form of self-love. And not to doubt yourself. I feel like we sell ourselves short so much, so often. And not just in love, and I think in life. And
Absolutely.
when you truly find how you want to be loved and how you love yourself is when the door opens for so many things. So take it for
fantastic. That was wonderful. I truly appreciate the sentiment, and I hope you guys listening, all two of you, really
and bring flowers.
take it to heart. Of course, and yes, the flowers are key. The flowers are key.
Peonies, take a peony.
But
Thank you for having me.
of course, that's all we have for today, guys. Next week we're going to be